All right, so we're going to take a couple questions on page 588. 32 is one, and what did we say the other one was? 37. So we'll do 37 as well. All right, let's take a look at 32. Let's draw the thing so it kind of looks like that. This is 108, so that's obtuse. And then that looks like that. All right. Wish it would have come together right there, but that's okay. What do we got? 7.9 here. We've got 14.6. Now look, you need to really start to be, what am I trying to say? I can't think and write at the same time, so give me a second. All right, here we go. You really need to get to the point where you're starting to understand this stuff now. You've got to work hard at it. It's not something that just comes to you real easy. This is something that you got to work hard at. But I think after a while, you start doing enough of these, and it starts making a little bit more sense, and you should be okay. So let's take a look. First of all, it doesn't say whether to use law of sines or law of cosines, does it? So you got to figure out which one to use. So we're solving for all the missing parts, aren't we? So we're solving for angle E. We're solving for angle F. And what else are we solving for? Little e right there. Okay? So those are the two things that we're solving for. So, I don't know. Pick one. Or let's see what they give you. What do they give you? They give you this angle and they give you the side opposite that angle. Right? There's one video I was watching, this lady was teaching. She called them, what'd she call them? Angle pairs or something like that. She said, look for angle pair, or side angle pairs, I think is what she called them. Which means, listen to me, side angle pair, which means you got a side and you have an angle opposite that side. So instead of me saying, okay, look for an angle and look for a side opposite that angle, she shortened it, and I kind of like it. She shortened it into side angle pairs. Does it make sense? This is a side angle pair right here, isn't it? All right, so I know that one. Now, what else do I know? I don't know either one of these angles, but I do know this side. So what's the side angle pair with this? What angle is opposite is F? So let's solve for what? Let's solve for F. Does it make sense? And how are we going to solve for F? We're going to use what? Law of sines. Not just the sine, but the law of sines. Okay? Or some teachers, again, I noticed this by going on YouTube and looking at this stuff. Some teachers say the sine law. They don't say law of sines, they say the sine law. Whatever. Same thing, don't you think? So let's see how to do this. We're trying to solve for F, so I want that to be on top. Again, I've been watching a lot of videos to see how different teachers teach these things, and you'd be surprised about how many different ways they do this. But I still am sticking with my way of teaching this. Okay, head up. So watch this. I'm solving for F, so I want to put the F on the top. But it is an angle, so I don't just put the F on the top. What do I put up there? I put the sine of F. Okay, over the side that's opposite that, which is 7.9. Everybody with me? Trying to solve for F, so I put the sine of F, and then what's opposite? 7.9. Now, the other two have to be ones that I know, and I've already labeled that, haven't I? I know this angle, I know this side. That's side, what did I call it again? Side angle pair, something like that? I think that's what they called it. I didn't call it, that lady called it that, and that's what I'm going by. Side angle pair, so what do I have here? What's going to go on top? I got 108 degrees, and I got this side is 14.6. The sine of 108. Okay, so the sine of 108, right? Because I got the angle on top, the side on the bottom. Got the angle on top, the side on the bottom. What side is opposite this 108? 14.6. So there you go. It's set up, isn't it? Now what do we have to do? We have to solve for... Yeah, we got to solve for F, don't we? So in order to solve for F, I've done this so many times. There's no excuse not to know what math to do here. So talk to me so that you know what's going on. Not the inverse yet. Multiplied by 7.9. So that just goes away, doesn't it? All right, so how do I do this? Just put it right up in front. Do you see that? That wasn't hard, was it? You get rid of it on the bottom, put it on the top of the other one. You could. But listen, we've talked about this many, many times. You could cross multiply. And when I went on YouTube, almost every teacher on there says, okay, now cross multiply. I think, listen to me, listen. You could cross multiply. I'm not saying you couldn't. But look, I'm showing you a better way. And again, I've said this many, many times before. I don't know why that you don't listen to my better way, because this is better. This is better than cross multiplying. Technically, it's kind of the same thing. You get the same thing, but I think this is easier. I put the F on the top for a reason, so that I don't have to cross multiply. I think it's a lot easier this way. Multiply by 7.9 and then get rid of the sign. How do we get rid of that sign right there? Take the inverse, and that's all you have to do. So F is equal to the inverse sign of all this stuff right here. And really, if you don't even want to write all that down, you didn't have to. Look, I just do all this in my calculator, and at the very end, what do? Take the second function sign, and then I'd be done. Okay? But I'm going to write it all out just for the sake of me teaching it to you. So sine of 108 over 14.6. That's what you're putting in your calculator right there. That wasn't that hard, was it? 2 steps. Multiply by 7.9, take the inverse sign, bang, you're done. Make sense? Okay, yeah, I think that's pretty easy. I can't think of a better way to explain that. I really can't. And I've been watching a lot of videos because I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe I'm not explaining it the best way. So I'm going watching video after video after video, listening to different teachers explain this stuff, and I still come to the conclusion that I'm explaining it better than any of those other teachers. All right, and it's he really doesn't do the law of sines very well. He basically what he does is he proves what the law of sines actually is, you know, A over sine of A, B over sine of B, C over sine of C. He proves it. He doesn't really use it much in his video. He just proves it. So so there you go. All right, so let's do this. 7.9, we'll do it real quick. 7.9 sine of 108. You guys are paying attention, right? You shouldn't be talking, you should be watching. Divided by, now on your calculator, on your 30XA, what would you do here? You just wouldn't put 7.9 and then sine right next to it. You'd put, right, times 108 sine, exactly. Make sure you know how to use your calculator. Then you hit it equals. I would hit equals before I hit divide on your 30XA. So do this, hit equals, then hit divide. On this calculator, though, I can just do this. Divided by 14.6, that equals this. That's what this stuff right here is. But that's not my final answer. What do I have to do to it? Take the second function sine. So I hit second function sine of my answer, and then there it is. So it's 30.9, but it is an angle, so what do we round our angles to? To the nearest degree, so that 9 rounds that up to a 1, so it's 31 degrees. So F, angle F, is 31 degrees. So that would be this angle right there. Make sense? Alright, let's do some more. What else do we have to find? I gotta find E, and I gotta find this little e, and I gotta find angle E. But angle E would be really easy. I don't have to do any trig to find angle E now, would I? Because look, I've got 108, I've got 31. What do I do to find angle E? Yeah, you could add them up and subtract them from 180, but I think it's easier on the calculator just to go 180, what? Minus 108 minus 31. There it is. It's 41 degrees. So that was an easy one to find, wasn't it? Right there, 41 degrees. But now I got to find side E. Well, side E is not that big of a deal. What's the side? What did I call it again? The side angle pair. Here's the angle. Here's the side. They're pairing up with each other, right? So I'm solving for E. So what goes on top? No. No, just little e goes on top. You guys watching? A lot of people were making this mistake yesterday. I think in the other class, I had a couple people making this mistake. They were going the sine of the side. You don't take the sine of the side, you take the sine of the what? The angle. You only take the sine of the angle. And I had not so many, probably 2 or 3 people though, that were taking the sine of 14.6 and the sine of 7.9. You can't do that. It doesn't make any sense. You can only take the sine of the angle. So here we go. It's the E over the sine of 41 equals. Now, what other pair do you know? Well, you know this pair, don't you? Or you know this original pair that we started with. I like to use the stuff that we started with. So it would be 14.6 on top this time. Why is 14.6 on top this time and it was on the bottom over here? Because the variable's on the top here. The side's on the top here, so the side has to be on the top here. Over what? Just 108? No, it's the sine of 108. And again, I was getting people to do that. Even after many, many, many times of me saying the sine of the angle. Some people were just putting 108 degrees down here. It's got to be the sine of 108. All right? Look, one step. This was 2 steps. Multiply by 7.9, take the inverse. This is 1 step. 1 step. If you cross-multiplied, you'd have to do at least 2 steps to cross-multiply. All right? You can do this in 1 step. What is that step? Come on. I got to get rid of this, right? Well, what do? Multiply by the sine of 41. Multiply by the sine of 41. I don't take the inverse because I'm not trying to get rid of the sine. I'm trying to get rid of the sine of 41. The sine of 41 is just a number. You can put the sine of 41 in your calculator and you just get some number, right? So how do you get rid of some number that's being divided? You multiply. That's right. And there it is. Scrappy, please. I've said that several occasions. If you go back on the video, rewind, listen to me. Listen to me. You're not listening to what I'm actually saying. You're hearing what you want me to say, okay? But you're not hearing what I'm actually saying. What I said was this. You could cross-multiply. This actually comes out to the same exact thing as if you cross-multiplied. Yes, it's the same answer as if you cross-multiplied, but this is easier. It's less steps. Don't you want to do less steps? It's not. If you cross-multiplied, you'd multiply this, multiply that. I consider that 2 steps. And then you have to divide by the sine of 108. That's actually 3 steps, technically. This right here, 1 step, boom, you're done. I don't know why. Scrappy, don't argue with me on this, okay? I'm telling you. It's still 1 step, all right? It's just 1 step compared to 2 or 3 steps, depending on how you want to look at it by cross-multiplying. I'm telling you. You want to make it more complicated. I want to make it easier. Right? Wouldn't you rather make it easier? Wouldn't you? Yeah, absolutely. I'm making it easier for you. I promise you. I'm not trying to trick you. Okay? I'm really not. So here we go. We stick this in our calculator and we are finished this problem. The next problem we're not going to take near as long on. Okay? Quickly.
E divided by the sine of 41.
Yeah.
Why isn't it the sine of E?
Because we don't take, I just got done saying this, we don't take the sine of the sides. We only take the sine of the angles. Rewind the tape, go back and listen to what I said. I said it just a few minutes ago. Okay, we don't take the sine of the sides. We only take the sine of the angle. You can only take the sine, cosine, tangent, whatever, of an angle. You never, ever, ever take the sine or cosine or tangent of the length of a side. You only take it of an angle. Go back and watch my trig function videos, and it explains what sine, cosine, and tangent really mean. It only deals with angles. I don't know how many more times I have to say that. I've said it a lot. Okay, so you got to listen. You only take the sine of an angle. If you end up taking the sine of one of the lengths of the sides of a triangle, you're doing something wrong. Is everybody hearing me? Okay, somehow I don't know if I'm getting through. But anyway, let's do this. Let's put this into a calculator and see what we get. So I got 14.6 sine of 41 and divide that by the sine of 108. And then there's your answer right there. 10.07. This is the length of a side, isn't it? E is one of the sides. So what do we round the length of a side to? 10.1. 7 rounds that up to a 1, so it's 10.1. So E equals 10.1. That's our answer right there. All right, if you need to see that again, well then see it again. All right, but do that on your own. All right, do it on YouTube. Okay, and what are we doing now? 37. All right, let's do this a little faster. It took a little bit longer than I really anticipated. So that looks something like this, and looks something like this. I'm going to go through this pretty quick. I'm not going to sit there and explain every little thing that I'm doing, okay? So you need to watch. You need to pay attention. And this is 70 degrees right here. This is angle P. This is R and Q. I don't know, did we? I don't think I remember doing a 70. I don't know. Did we? Well, we're doing it again. Okay, so let's do this. I can't remember if we did this yesterday or not. All right? Yeah. Doesn't matter. Get your head up off. He's right. Please do. Please do. That's all right. Doesn't matter. Look, this is law of cosines now because it's side, angle, side. You remember that? Law of cosines, side, angle, side, or what else? Side, side, side. All the rest, use law of sines. Law of cosines, side, angle, side, or if I have all three sides. So I'm going to use law of cosines. We'll call this little q right here. No, there's not. Because look, this is the only angle that I know, isn't it? And I don't know this side right here. So that's one variable. That means I have to have a side angle pair. I know this side, but I don't know this angle. I know this side, but I don't know this angle. In order to use a law of sines to find this right here, I got to know two angles. So you got to know a pair, right? And I don't know a pair. See this one right here, technically I don't know that pair, do I? Because there is no hypotenuse. It's Q. It's not. Look, that's a Q. That's a Q. All right. Right. You got to know at least one full pair, one side angle pair, in order to use law of sines. That's right. Don't take the sine. The side of Q? I don't know what you mean. The sine of Q. No. This is a side, isn't it? You can't take the sine of a length. Remember, we had that big discussion before. That's the third time I've said that today. Doesn't work. It doesn't make any sense. Look, what does sine mean? Sine means, like, when we do right triangles, what does the sine mean? It means the ratio of the opposite side to the hypotenuse of that particular angle, right? By definition, it makes no sense to take the sine, cosine, or tangent of a length of a side because it all deals with an angle. So if I'm taking this angle, it'd be opposite over hypotenuse on a regular right triangle. On a regular right triangle, okay? So, right, yeah, that is the third time today that I have said this. So I can't go through that anymore. All right, here we go. Let's do this. I said I wasn't going to take as long, and now you're making me take too long on this. So let's watch. Just watch and see what's going on. So q squared, I'm using law of cosines. So it would be q squared equals 9 squared plus 15 squared minus 2 times 9 times 15 times the cosine of the angle, which is 70 degrees. There it is. I'm just ready to use a calculator right now. I just plugged stuff into my formula. Now I can use the calculator. Write this down. This is showing your work. Writing this formula down right here is showing your work. And then you put equals and then your answer. That's your work. That's all you can do. Okay? So watch what I do. I like to put... Let's use parentheses here. Remember what we do here? Make sure you use a parentheses right here and right there. Okay? I just want to make sure I say that. So it's 9 squared. Watch what I do here. Don't just because I'm putting this into a calculator doesn't mean you should be looking away. Minus, and then watch. Parentheses, and then 2 times 9 times 15 cosine of 70. Now, on your calculator, you don't just hit 15 cosine 70. What do you hit? 15 times 70 cosine. All right? Right, put two parentheses here. One closes to 70, and this one closes that thing right there. It hit equals, and I got that big number. And then I got to get q, so I got to take square roots. That's right. Right. Now, on your calculator, if you have a TI-30XA, you get that 213.65 whatever, and then you just hit square root, and you're done. On this one, you got to do it. Okay. So 14.6. This is a side, so I'm rounding it to 1 decimal. The 1 doesn't round the 6 up, so it is 14.6. So Q is 14.6. That's this right here. Okay? What else do we need to do? We need to find an angle, don't we? Now look what I know now. Look. Now I know a side angle pair, don't I? So now I can use the law of sines. That's right. What do you want to find? Let's find R. Okay? Doesn't matter. I could find P or R. It doesn't make any difference. So watch what we do. It's the sine of R over what? 15 equals, over here, what is this? Sine of, yeah, but I know Q. Right, 70 over 14.6. See, now I can use it because now I got this side right here. Now I have an angle side pair. Now I can solve for this. You don't have to cross multiply. You can if you want to. Thanks, Rayvon. I appreciate your enthusiasm on this. I think he knows what he's doing. That's what. So watch. Multiply by 15 and take the inverse sine, right?
Not the sine of 15.
Right. You're not taking the sine of 15. You're taking the inverse sine. Let me try that again. What?
We're going to do a little thing on this paper.
Don't say that. What are you doing? My
He doesn't
goodness.
care that he did it. He just doesn't.
I do care, but I don't want him saying it though. I don't want him drawing it, and I don't want him talking about it. So watch. 15 sine of 70. All right, divided by 14.6. What's that?
It's 70.
Oh, you're picky, aren't you?
I'm gonna get it wrong.
I know. Just kidding. All right,
Mr. Hammer, can you edit YouTube?
I can, but I don't like to because it takes more time than I have. All right, so there we go. We get that. And then we take the inverse sine of it. So second function sine of my answer. And then there you go, 74.8. But it is an angle, right? We're solving for angle R, so it's going to be 75 degrees. So angle R is 75 degrees.
You want me to tell you just add both of them, add 75 and 70. And then
You wouldn't take it.
Yeah, you could add them, but on a calculator, it's don't you think it's easier?
Sine when it's that easy?
Are you listening? Watch, don't you think it's easier just subtracting them both from 180? 35.
Yeah, that's
Whoops.
kind of easy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
35 degrees. So there's your answers. 35 degrees, 75 degrees, and 14.6. That's how you do it. Okay?
All
right. Enough of that. I'm going to give you a worksheet to practice a little bit more on, but I also want to show you a couple YouTube videos that I have found.
How do you know it's right?
There is no checking.
You
No,
check
how
it.
do you know it's right?
Because the calculator says
Because
No,
I did it, that's why.
That's the big